It was an unusually cold and snowy day in Vancouver, but the frigid negative temperature didn't stop over 200 protesters from taking to the streets. We won't go! The rally started at Pantages Theatre on East Hastings, one of 10 sites protesters are demanding the city buys to create 100% social housing, nothing less. Downtown Eastside residents like Fraser Stewart wants gentrification in the area to stop.
Get the people living in self-contained units that they can afford. Then maybe, possibly, there'll be room for condos down here. But not for the next 50 years. Thank you.
The city wants to allow developers to build new condos in the neighborhood, but residents are worried it'll break up the community and push many out.
Downtown Eastside, we take care of one another, we look after one another, we are a community, and we don't need to be taken out of our community where they can build their condos, which is not our way of life. Thank you.
But the rally wasn't just to protest the lack of social housing. It was also the kickoff to Tent City 2011 at Olympic Village, the space where the city and developers broke their promise and reduced social housing from 66% to 10% of the units. Just like the Tent City last year, this one is making several demands.
In terms of Tent City this year we have 3 demands. One is that the city reinstate the 2/3 affordable housing that they promised here at the Athletes Village. Our second demand is that the city purchase 10 sites each year to build affordable housing on. And our third demand is that they end the criminalization of the poor, so scrap some of the bylaws to get rid of some of the bylaws like Project Single City and Clean Street Sweeps, where they arrest people and ticket people for vending, for jaywalking, for spitting, for lying down. And the reason that it is the criminalization of the poor is because it only applies to that 4-block radius, which is the poorest postal code in Canada. So we're asking that they repeal those laws, and we're demanding that they reinstate the housing here, and we're demanding that the next election that they purchase the tent sites.
But the Tent City was quickly disrupted by a growing presence of police, and eventually there was an announcement made that they had to leave the public space or face arrests.
You're on city-owned land. City does not allow housing, structures, and materials on its land. You must leave the premises immediately and remove your materials immediately.
So the campers picked up their tents and left Athletes Village. They moved to an empty lot about 2 blocks away. But this tent city didn't last long either. The private owner of this space filed an injunction and had them evicted. The campers then looked for a space to have a meeting and plan what to do next. They couldn't get into the community center, but found an open show suite where they could meet. But the police saw this as illegal trespassing and break and entry. As a result, they arrested 11 people who were in the space, hoping to have a quiet, warm meeting. In the spirit of solidarity, other protesters remained until they were driven off in a paddy wagon.
Let them go! Let them go! Let them go! Let them go!
Tent City couldn't happen in the end, but the message remains.
What is happening here today should happen right across the country. Because homelessness is an issue from one Atlantic to the Pacific, from the Great Lakes to the Arctic Circle. We need a housing plan here in Canada, and only the federal government can do that. We haven't had one since the 80s.
I'll pin this side down.
And since then, homelessness has gone up in this country right across the board.
Well, yeah, and also it won't get wet, right?
Enough is enough.
The people unite!